guess what? Jake Sherman reports, now he's an NBC reporter, he says Democrats do not expect to be able to send Joe Biden a COVID relief bill until early March. Oh,
Isn't it interesting when they can move fast and when they can't?
That's exactly what that guy just said. It took them a year to get his $600, and they can snap their fingers and get billions of dollars to corporations and tyrannical governments like that. They got more important things to do than to get a COVID. They got to go impeach the president who already is out of office.
Yeah, they can move quick when it comes to that.
2 days, they impeached the president. 2 days, they impeached the president. How about COVID relief for a thing that's been going on for a year? That's going to take a few more months. I'm
really curious what the squad will be tweeting now for the next 4 years.
What are they going to be tweeting?
What are they going to be able to tweet about, Jimmy?
Well, they're still tweeting.
They've all been tweeting the whole, like, what would an extra $2,000 a month do for you? And it's just so, I mean, I personally, and I know this doesn't make an iota of difference, but I have unfollowed every single elected official that I was ever, I mean, I was only following a few to begin with, but I unfollowed everybody. I won't like their tweets. I won't retweet them because I'm just so tired. It is just painfully condescending at this point to be like, oh, what would your life be like if you had an emergency UBI like the rest of the industrialized world? Well, we know you're not fighting for it. So stop with these condescending tweets to try to reassure people. You guys are just being the ministry of appeasement, and I'm sick of just accepting it. I'm not gonna fall for it.
And so what do you think progressives should do, Ron, to hold them account? What should progressives, because what I did, everybody, half the left says you're not supposed to do, you're supposed to be nice. What is your idea on how because I ask this question everywhere I go and no one has a fucking answer. So I'm asking you now, what are we supposed to do when the squad doesn't do the thing they ran on?
Well, Jimmy, I stand for two things: love, big fan of love, and a general strike. I think a general strike is pretty freaking dope. So I think that needs to happen. I think we need to have a massive general strike combined with a rent strike. I mean, more direct action, more protests, more organized efforts like force the vote. I think.
But how do we? So when you So when you direct action to hold the squad accountable for not doing what they ran on, is that?
Yeah.
So like you mean like showing up at their offices, stuff like that?
Yeah, protest outside. But I think it's going to take more than protest. I think we really need to shut things down. I mean, and I've been saying that for a long time. I mean, just because one action is to kind of force them to do something politically, and another action is broader, like a general strike. I mean, the two things are connected, because if there's a general strike and things are really shut down, and the supply chain doesn't go as usual, and Jeff Bezos has a headache, and Walmart has a headache, and the corporations that are really running this place, they all have headaches and they're ticked off. Well, they have to go to the elected officials and are like, okay, what do we have to concede to get our supply chain going back up? And then those elected officials might say, well, see all those people outside our office? They're really pissed off that we don't have the healthcare that the rest of the industrialized world takes for granted. So why don't we start there? And that is, the way I see it, the only way we're going to get any kind of change. So, I don't know if that's like the complete right answer, man, but that's the best I got. No,
Rod, I agree with you. A general strike would be fantastic. The problem is the people who are supposed to be help leading it aren't, and they won't. And I'm like, well, what are we supposed to do to those people when they won't do anything? What are we supposed to do when Bernie Sanders won't fucking use his power of his movement to push Joe Biden left? What are we supposed to do when he won't call for a general strike? What are we supposed to do when AOC and the squad don't use their leverage and they don't call for a general strike? What are we supposed to do to them? Nobody has a fucking answer except what I did was wrong. That's all. Everybody knows that you can't do that. But apparently nobody else has another answer. People are going to try to force the votes. And I say, well, what are you going to do when they don't force the vote going forward? Nobody has a fucking answer. They're not going to do anything. But you're right. We did. I don't understand. So we're going to do a story next about a strike in New York City. And of course, the problem is we're never going to get a general strike if we rely on the unions, because the union leadership from the Teamsters and stuff, they're corrupt. They're there to fucking, they're not what you think they are. All right. We had union leaders on this show, and you could tell that they were fucking controlled opposition. And that's the problem with a lot of unions. They're controlled opposition. So
we had authors that wrote about organizing, and they seemed like they were not interested in what was going on with Amazon.
Not interested in what was going on with Amazon. Not interested in doing a strike. We had a union leader on from the Teamsters on this show.
Oh.
And I said, well, shouldn't we? Because we were talking about how they were screwing over the Amazon workers. And I'm like, well, shouldn't we be striking now? He goes, oh, you don't want to strike now. Things are really in dire straits. You mean like when you have all the leverage, you don't want to strike? So again, there's no left. The left is compromised in America. There is no left. The DSA, when the moment came, they showed that they were compromised. The Justice Democrats, the moment came, they showed they're compromised. The unions, where the fuck are they? What are they fucking doing? So it's going to have to come from the people somehow. We're going to have some form of new leadership because it's not going to come from somebody inside the Democratic Party. You can agree on that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I wish I knew the answer as to how a general strike could come about.
I know.
I really don't. And you know, I mean, we're comedians.
I know.
It doesn't apply to us. So
I
know it needs to happen. And I mean, like the thing I always say publicly is like, look, I know it needs to happen, and I want to play my role to help by being out there and being a communication vehicle. But, you know, as far as how to make it happen, I wish I knew. That's why, you know, when I see people like Christian Smalls out there, I mean, I find that really inspiring.
Yes.
When I hear about the Wildcat strikes, I find that really inspiring because I'm like, okay, how do we do this everywhere?
That's what we need to do. And that was happening like crazy. During the time of FDR. There were lots of wildcat strikes, lots of all kinds of organizing happening like that all the time. And so it's just there again, there's no left in America. There's no left. I'm telling you. Just me trying to get people on the left to do what they campaigned on turned me into a pariah. Half the left turned on me. Just to get the left to do what we all agree on, which is force a vote for Medicare for all. Everybody's agreed on that for years. Nancy Pelosi was saying we have to force a vote in 1994 for single payer. So I thought everybody's on board. So me just pushing that, half the left turned on me because half of them are controlled opposition. And me going on Tucker Carlson to advocate against censorship and for journalism, Julian Assange, also half the left turned on me. It's you can't even, no matter what they claim to agree on, once the moment comes to actually implement it, half the left will turn on you. So the moment came to force a vote for Medicare for all, half the left turned on me for pushing it. The moment came to push for Julian Assange and a pardon and against censorship, half the left fucking turned on me. It's amazing. It's fucking amazing to see. All I'm telling you, Ron, if you're gonna you could go push for clean water, half the left will turn on you. I'm not fucking. Go ahead, try it, Ron.
No, I know, I know, but I mean, and as far as the general strike's concerned, I mean, part of, you know, the organizing mechanism of it is by design because in the United States, it's infinitely harder to do something like strike. In other countries, I mean, you know, tying healthcare into this, in other countries where your healthcare isn't tied to your job, and you're not working 2 and 3 jobs just to survive, people strike. And typically good things happen. In Germany, you mess with them, they go on strike. In France, you mess with them, man, they know how to strike.
And guess what? They all have health care.
And guess what? They all have health care.
Yeah. And in the United States, it's like when people are one paycheck away from I'm not going to be able to have groceries for my kids or I'm not going to make rent, you know, it's a lot easier said than done for them to strike. And I understand that. And you know, I wish I had the answer, but you know, I feel like it's just got to happen.
Democrats can't get a COVID relief bill to Joe Biden's desk until March. Vote blue. We're going to get you a $2,000 check. Not really.
Psych.
And we won't even start working on that until March.
What are they working on?
What are they working on? Okay. By the way, when Lehman Brothers collapsed on September 5th, 2008, Congress authorized $700 billion on October 3rd. Wow. And they did it faster this time. Being told that anger is an appropriate response to politicians doing stuff like this, what is the appropriate level of outrage for something like this? Asking for a friend. New coronavirus variant could become dominant strain in March, the CDC warns. That's true. So there may be a new strain of COVID, but there may also be some relief that doesn't include healthcare on the way. Got it? Can't you feel the nation heal? 66% of Americans fear they can't afford healthcare this year. Isn't that it's a stunning stat, is that not?
It's a stunning stat, and what's more stunning is that, you know, even this incoming administration wants to do more of the same that kind of got us into this rut.
This is the richest country in the world, Ron. This is what you call a failed state.
Oh, yeah.
Heights Hospital closes because owners are behind on rent. No, the notice says. What? 2/3 of voters support providing Medicare to every American. 69% of voters support Medicare for all. 87% of Democrats support it. The Gravel Institute tweeted out, "Don't get complacent. Joe Biden is not your friend. He is not your ally. If we want him to do anything, we'll have to force him." Exactly right. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.